Hey, it's me, James, and in this video, I'm going to be doing the lightning round oracle card pull session for Libra season. So stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in and joining me for this latest installment of my now ongoing series, which I call Lightning Round Oracle Card Sessions. We are now going to be doing oracle card pulls for Libra season. And with that in mind, I'm filming this video on Friday. It is September the 22nd. And tomorrow is Mabon. And it is a celebration of the changing of the seasons from summer into fall. It is known as also the autumn equinox. So I'm very excited to be filming the video right around the corner. So I'm going to be celebrating Mabon tomorrow. And one of the things I've chosen to do in light of that is to take some time, put some time, focus, intention, and energy on dedicating or rededicating myself to my craft. With that in mind, the deck selection for this month's Oracle card pull session is going to be a deck that I made for myself, and it represents aspects of my spiritual practice, and the deck is called Magick. So here's the box. Even though the deck is for me, I still made a sturdy box with a front. This is the front and the back. So show you the back right there. So I'm very excited about that. So even though the deck is just for me and my own personal use, I still wanted it to feel special, right? So that is the box. These are the backs of the cards. So there are about, I want to say 55 or 56 cards in the deck. So without any further ado, I'm going to shuffle the cards. As you can see, I'm shuffling the cards now. And just as I've done in previous installments, I'm going to start with the current sign for the season. So that I'm starting with Libra, and we're going to end up on Virgo. If you noticed, I looked away because I have to write the signs down in the order that I'm going to be doing them, just so I don't leave out a sign. Alright, so I'm taking a moment to shuffle the cards. I'm doing it so you can actually see it on camera. Yes. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and cut the deck. And I like to cut it into 3. So I'm doing that now. And then put it back in the pile. And then what I usually do is I take one card off the top of the deck and just do that consecutively for each sign. And we just see what we see, right? Okay. So you could also, if you know aspects of your chart, meaning you know your sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, you could consider the cards for each of those signs and then give yourself the gift of a 3-card reading. Yes? Okay. Now, having said that, this is the card for Libra, and I've learned as a result of last month's session when I did it for Virgo, is that we could look at the first card for Libra people specifically, or you could choose to look at that maybe as an overall card for Libra season, right? Because we are in that season right now. So the first card, this is a great card, and I like how I set it up. All right, so for Libra, we have the manifestation card, right? So this is a card for me. When I have it turn up, it represents, being aware of what your goals are. That is the dartboard with the bullseye, yes? And I love the image because the dart has actually made a bullseye, right? So this is really about setting time and intention on manifesting your goals, right? Really be clear and intentional, yes? But it's also about taking the steps. Like this is a season where we could actually see the results, reaching the goal, right? Hitting the mark, getting the bullseye, metaphorically speaking, of whatever goal that we want to achieve, or whatever that is for you. But this is a great month to really set that into motion. Now, in order for the dart to hit the target, you have to be hands-on, right? It requires taking some kind of action. So maybe ask yourself this month or this season, what is the action step I might need to consider actually taking in order to achieve my goal, right? But the first thing I always go with, and I love the fact that the background is pretty clear on the card, is really being clear in your mind about what it is that you want to achieve, and maybe asking yourself the deeper question, why do you want to achieve that? You know, I'm a big believer in, just from my own personal experience, life experience, right? Sometimes it's not about the actual thing. There's either a mental or emotional undercurrent of that thing. What would that thing, that manifestation, allow you that you don't have right now? And that is the reasoning behind it. It may not be the thing itself, but what is underneath the desire for that manifestation, yes? But this is really about, hitting the mark, right? Great card to have for Libra season and Libra people in particular. So that is Libra, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be crossing off each sign as I do it, right? So that's Libra. Next one is for Scorpio. Okay, so here we have, and this may be a little jarring for people, and I apologize if it is. This is the Mother, Father, God card. So this really is just about being in touch with your higher power, if you have one, your sense of divinity, the divine. And also, too, for me, it's about understanding that spark of the divine resides in you, right? So this may be a matter of, I sometimes call this the universe card, yeah? So it could just be a matter of being more aware, could be coming into a greater sense of consciousness, an expansion of consciousness, yes? Heightened awareness, things of that, It could just be a matter of taking a look at the bigger picture of things, so you're going through a situation. Now, it could be, if you believe in a higher power, if you have a relationship with divinity of any kind, right? Then this may be a matter of, because this is the expression that's coming to me, it's about maybe possibly surrendering a particular situation or experience to the divine and allowing the divine to do its work within that experience or situation. Yes? So that's a possibility. But it could also just be a matter of you embarking on maybe a different phase or different chapter in your relationship with divine. There could be a shift or a change in that. It could be a matter of exploring a new path or having a different mindset or approach to the divine. Yes, all those kinds of things. The reason why I call this card Mother, Father, God, excuse me if I can get the words out, is that in the past I was involved with a spiritual movement known as Unity. And when I first got into Unity, I heard God referred to as Mother, Father, God, and I just loved it so much. But really what this is about the blending or the merging or the union of the feminine and the masculine, yes? So it could just be a matter of, this is a time maybe to explore the connection or the relationship between your masculine aspects of self and your feminine aspects of self. And maybe they're coming into a greater sense of union, yeah? Because of the image here, I have them kind of like intertwined, right? So it's just understanding like you, from a spiritual perspective, that you are both masculine and feminine, yes? So that is what I want to share in the moment with the Mother, Father, God card. Okay, that was for Scorpio. Next, for Sagittarius, we have the Samhain card. Okay, so Samhain, I have a couple of Sabbath cards in here, and they're, of course, the ones that I really enjoy celebrating or participating in. So Samhain, for me, this is a time to set new intentions. And why do I say that? Because it's known as the Witch's New Year, yeah? So with that in mind, it could just be a matter of what new intentions would you like to set for yourself going forward. It could be a chapter in your life is coming to an end. It's the jumping off point, so to speak, for a new chapter, a new phase to start. So what are the intentions that you would like to set for yourself. What would you like to see, or where would you like to see yourself going in life from this point forward? And maybe giving some thought, and maybe even taking some action, going back to the manifestation card, taking some action towards that, right? So that is the first thing that I want to say about the Silent card, because I'm understanding that, yes, while I'm a magical practitioner, I'm trying to offer meanings that are not necessarily magically based, or just coming from a witch or pagan perspective. Yeah. Okay, so that's how I would look at it in that regard. It could also be too that you are moving into a greater place and space in your spiritual life where you are accessing spirit, or you're becoming more in touch or in tune with spirit. And so that could be spirit with the large S, and that would be a nice way to bring back the Mother Father Guard card back into the uh, explanation here. It could be that, or it could just be a matter of being really tuned into the spirit world. One of the things I like about celebrating Samhain is that I'm reminded that the veil between this world and the spirit world is thinner, or thinning, and you could be more in tune with the spirit world, right? It's also about honoring the spirits in the spirit world. So there is a celebration that I like to take, so I'm going to share this. There is an activity called Dumb Supper, and it really is about you sitting and eating with spirit. So for me, I practice that. I actually set places for spirit or spirits, right? Whoever I'm thinking of, reflecting of. And then here's the other part of that. As I'm doing that, I'm eating in silence. So I'm actually communing with the spirits in the spirit world, and I'm honoring those who have gone before me in that way. Yes? So that may be something to think about. It could be about honoring those who have gone before you as I'm talking about this out loud. It could be creating space to honor those who have gone before you, that kind of thing. Or you could just be more aware that you are really being in touch with the spirit world, and more of a connection with that. So those are the things that I want to say about the Samhain card. That was for Sagittarius. Next up we have Capricorn. And we have the Moon card. Okay, so now for me, this is really about being led and guided by your intuition. Or if that's too woo-woo, then this is just really about trusting your instincts, right? It could also be a matter of paying attention to either more conscious or subconscious messaging or material. Like for instance, like paying attention to your dreams. Your dreams are messages that come from or reside in your unconscious, because you're in an unconscious state when you're dreaming. Yes, that's sleeping. Or you're receiving messages from your subconscious mind, right? So it's just about that kind of energy, paying attention to that. It could also be a matter of you realizing that you are becoming more sensitive. This is a card for me that represents heightened sensitivity. So there is that as well. Now, it could also be that you are being encouraged to really maybe work more with the moon if you are a magical or spiritual practitioner, paying attention to the phases of the moon, cycles of the moon, things like that. It might even be that you're being asked to do what is known as moon magic, right? So there is that as well. But I think the biggest thing here is just paying attention to the cycles of the moon, right? In terms of your emotional sensitivity and intuitive sensitivity, right? And just paying attention and honoring the intuitive impressions that you are getting during this phase, right? So that's what I want to offer to you about the moon card. That was for Capricorn. Next up we have Aquarius. And the card here we have is spell casting. Okay, so now for me, spell casting, when I'm actually doing or performing a spell, it is really about it's an action, right? So I have the intention, right? So I consider spell casting to be the step between intention and manifestation, right? Coming back to the very first card, right? So the spell casting that I'm doing is I'm taking a concrete action step that is going to help, in my mind anyway, serve as a bridge to achieve the manifestation that I'm looking to receive. Yes? So there is that. And it also implants the intention more firmly in my mind, right? I'm a big believer that intention and action go hand in hand. So the spellcasting card is really just about a ritual or a ceremony that's going to serve as an action step for you to cement the intention for the manifestation more firmly in your mind, right? So there's that. So now in the image I have a cauldron on here, and so now the cauldron can serve as a way to purify things. Most of the time when I use my cauldron, I'm burning something in it, yeah? So with that in mind, you know, this could be about like purification, or what do you need to kind of burn away. So that would be a nice way of saying eliminate. Is there something in your life that needs elimination, right? Do you need to kind of maybe rekindle some kind of passion? I'm sticking with the fire element here that's associated with my experience when I work with the cauldron, right? So it could just be a matter of, is there a passion that needs to be rekindled, right? You know, but I'm seeing this as maybe the possibility of burning something away that you no longer need, want, that is no longer serving you and supporting you, right? But I'm going to go back to my very first thought as I wrap this up, is that it's really about creating a ritual or a ceremony that honors the intention. That's a nice way of putting it. That honors the intention for the manifestation that you'd like to see in your material world. Yeah? So that is spell casting. That was for Aquarius. Next up, we have Pisces. And so if you've been tuning into this series long enough, you know that I am Pisces. So I always am keen to seeing what the Piscean card is. So here we have, there are no mistakes here. Look at this. We have the intention card, right? So this is, in the image, we have a person who's planting a seed, right? So an intention is a metaphorical, seed, right? And the image here, the soil is the mental landscape. Yes, the fertile soils of your mental landscape, right? So this is just a matter of, again, like I said with the manifestation card, there's a theme here. We're really being asked to pay attention to our intention, our actions, and how both lead to manifestation, right? So here, if I go with a little bit of tarot association here, if you liken this to maybe the Seven of Pentacles, if you're tarot fluent, then you know that the Seven of Pentacles is all about reaping a harvest, yes? And so sometimes it's about assessment. For me, metaphorically, it's about assessment and evaluation. And sometimes it's about like getting a return on an investment, right? And so sometimes with the Seven of Pentacles, we're being asked to take a look at what we are reaping and asking ourselves, is that result worth the investment that we made or the intention that we set? Everything's about intention. So if you don't like the harvest that you're reaping in this moment, fellow Pisceans, maybe it's a matter of taking a look at the seeds that you have planted, and this is a time to maybe rethink those metaphorical seeds, yeah? Like for me, I talked about, in the opening, I talked about, for Mabon, I wanted to rededicate myself to my craft, yeah? So this would be about, okay, if I go with that as a thing for me, then what seeds would I plant? What new seeds would I plant? What new intentions would I set that would be in alignment with the rededication of my craft, right? Not just make it a, you know, something that I just say and then I don't have anything to follow up on that, right? So this is a matter of just taking a look at the seeds we're planting when it comes to our intentions, because the seed is the initial part of the process, right? It's the beginning part of the process, right? And so it's a matter of taking a look at that. And especially if you don't like what's been showing up for you lately, it may be a matter of going back and planting new seeds. So that is intention. And that was for Pisces. Next up we have Aries. Here we have, I had a feeling this card was going to show up. So here we have the Pentacle card. So now this is a representation of the element of Earth. If you're tarot fluent, because I've mentioned the Seven of Pentacles with the last card, this would be like the Ace of Pentacles in that system, right? So it's about, again, the Ace of Pentacles is about the potential for growth, right? The potential for something to flourish, right? The potential for something to manifest, right? But it's all about the potential, right? Everything is about potential, right? So now, here we also have this pentacle is a symbol for the body, right? If you stop to think, like, this is the head, then we have the arms, and then we have the legs. Yeah, so it could just be a symbol for the body. So it could just be a matter of maybe taking a look at how you are caring for yourself holistically. There may be something that you want to do there, or some new program or some regime that you want to start with that. Yes. So that's another possibility. The star for me is also a symbol of the 5 elements, right? So it could just be a matter of incorporating all 5 elements into your physical life. How do you recognize the elements at work in your life? How do you work with fire? How do you work with water? How do you work with earth? How do you work with air? How do you work with spirit, right? It's saying, like, manifestation, if we go back to the first thing, may be a combination of elements, right? It may not be just one particular thing. It may be a grouping or a combination of things, right? I'm going with the idea, like, experimentation and being in a lab and things like that, right? But it's a matter of, like, it's everything encompasses that manifestation. It's not just one thing. It's a combination of things, right? So there is that to also consider. And then for me, the triquetra, if you notice I wear one, but the triquetra is also a symbol for me that represents Trinity. So whatever Trinity works for you. For me, mine represents mind, body, spirit, right? And they're all at work together, right? So again, it's just kind of reinforcing this idea within the pentacle, right? But this could just be a matter of setting some intention or potential to change something in your physical or material world, right? So this could be, I already talked about holistic with self-care, so it could be a matter of your physical well-being. It could be having to do with your financial well-being, right? Because here we have, like, in the tarot, the pentacle suit can represent money or, coins, right? So it could just be a matter of, is there a change that you might need to make, pun intended, when it comes to your finances? Is there a change you want to make regarding your physical well-being? Is there a change that you want to make regarding your career? Whatever the earth element would mean for you in terms of your material existence, this card would suggest maybe, something setting the stage for some potential change for the better for you in that regard. So that is the Pentacle card. And that was for Aries. Next up we have Taurus. Here we have, here we have the centering card. So centering is really just about focus when it comes up. So it's just about, really giving some focus to the things that are going on in your life, right? So there may be something that requires more focus than other aspects, right? That's the thing that's coming to me in the moment, right? And would you be willing to give that some focus, right? This card is also about, taking some time to maybe tune in. If you notice, the gentleman's eyes are closed on the card, so it's about maybe tuning in. So this could be a meditation, kind of a way to meditate, or just be more mindful, right? Because I do have a meditation card in the deck, and wouldn't it be funny if that turned up somehow. But it's really just being centered. So it could just be a matter of, if you're experiencing, like, hustle and bustle and you're always busy, it could just be a matter of, this card is asking you just to take a step back, maybe kind of recenter yourself, that kind of thing. For me, I liken it to just being more mindful. How can you bring a greater sense of mindfulness to whatever it is that you are doing, right? But I'm also feeling inclined to say, for some people, this might be a matter of, because I'm coming back to the idea about hustle and bustle in our experiences, yes, out in the world, could just be a matter of not letting the hustle and the bustle get to you. Like, I'm looking at this image through the camera, and I'm noting to myself how peaceful he looks, yeah? So it could just be a matter of not allowing things in your external environments to steal your peace. Or, what's coming to me in the moment as I said that, or how can you come to a greater sense of peace about a particular experience or situation? Right? How can you have peace with that? Would you be willing to allow yourself to have peace with that or make peace with that? So that's what I want to say about the centering card. And that was for Taurus. Next we have Gemini. We have the Lakshmi card. So now the Lakshmi card is one of a number of cards that I have dubbed the Pantheon cards, right? Because in my experience, and this deck kind of reflects my evolving spiritual experience. But back in the day, when I first started meditating, and it's funny how I talked about meditation. There are never any mistakes with the things that come out of my mouth. So one day I was meditating, and I saw letters being formed in my mind. And it turned out they were the letters in the name Lakshmi being spelled out in my mind. Now, I had never heard of Lakshmi at this point in my spiritual growth and development. So I had to Google it. When I got up out of meditation, I made a point to write down what I was experiencing, because I used to do that back in the day when meditation was really new to me and I was really revved up and excited about it. I would write down what came to me in my more meditative moments. So I made a point to write down the letters as they were spelling themselves out, and then I Googled it and then understood that Lakshmi is the Hindu goddess of abundance and prosperity. Yeah? So there's a couple of things with this card. First and foremost, it is about you possibly considering having a more abundance or prosperity mindset or consciousness. Yes? One of the ways that you could do that would be to express gratitude for what you have in the moment, right? And some days that's easier to do than others. I understand that, right? But sometimes that opens the floodgates to experience more, right? When you appreciate what you have, it sets the stage for more coming in, yeah? So there's that. The other thing here, it could just be a matter of coming in contact or having a greater awareness of spiritual beings or deities that are not associated with your current path. And what do I mean by that? So I talked about how Lakshmi came to me during a more meditative moment, right? I was not a practicing Hindu, meaning I was not involved in Hinduism, wasn't learning about Hinduism when I had that experience, right? So it just made me aware that, and this is going to sound really woo-woo, so, I was going to say, so forgive me, but I'm really not going to apologize for that. It's just being aware that you may have the ability to tap into or connect with deities from other cultures or other spiritual paths or traditions that you somehow some connection or some alignment with, or some share the vibrational frequency along with that, right? I'm likening it to my experience with angels, right? For me, angels are vibrational frequencies that we can tap into or attune ourselves to, yeah? So it's similar to that, but it's also maybe an opportunity through that experience to maybe consider exploring a new spiritual path or tradition, right? And doing it with the mindset that you are going to be respectful, right? Because we live in a day and age where cultural appropriation is a thing that, lots of people talk about in spiritual circles. And I'm no different in that regard. When I put the Lakshmi card in the deck, I was doing it with the utmost respect because I wanted to honor that experience that Lakshmi and I had, right? And so this falls into the category of unverified personal gnosis, right? I can't say with any certainty to you and convince you that I had an experience with Lakshmi. I believe I did, right? But what I can do through this card and this message right now is just to convey the idea of being open and receptive to abundance in all ways, yeah? Because I'm noticing that she's sitting in a lotus flower, right? So that's a sign of being open and receptive. It's also a sign of something blooming and blossoming, yes, with flowers, right? As a symbol, it could also be, again, practicing the art of meditation, right? And maybe when you're having your meditative moments or experiences, being tuned into the mindset of abundance, right? But that is what I want to offer with the Lakshmi card. That was for Gemini. Next up we have Cancer. Here we have the thinning veil. I talked about this with the Samhain card, so I love seeing this, right? Again, same kind of message. I'm just going to elaborate on it again. Is that this is really talking about the veil thinning between this world and the spirit world. So again, it's just about being more in touch with spirit, either the greater spirit or the spirit world, the spirits in the spirit world that comprise the spirit world. And so that could be, so let's talk about that. That could be ancestors, yeah? That could be those who have gone before you. It could be spirit guides, yeah? It could be angels. I talked about angels and their vibrational frequency. It could be any number of spiritual entities, and it's about coming in greater contact with those, right? But the veil, it could just be a matter of the veil is thinning. So let me talk about that. If it's not about spiritual entities, maybe it's about this idea that the veil, you know, there's this idea when it comes to being intuitive or psychic or sensitive that some people have a veil, and then some people come into the world without the veil, right? So it could just be a matter of, again, when it comes to maybe intuitive or psychic sensitivities, they're going to be increased, they're going to be sharpened. Somebody's veil is going to be removed, yeah? And then you have a greater access or connection to the spirits in the spirit world. Now, it could also be, too, because I'm seeing in my mind the show Ghost Whisperer, yeah? And so for those of you who may be familiar with the show, it was one of my favorite shows when it was on. What I loved about it is that Melinda Gordon, who was the psychic medium in the show, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt, she, when she was not ready to communicate with spirits, I remember there was one scene where she was in a hospital, yeah? And the spirits all just rushed to her because, from what I understand, I have not experienced it, but from what I understand, is that when you have that kind of gift or ability, that when you are on, meaning your light is on, the spirits can see that and they flock to that. So there was this one scene where she's in the hospital and she kind of had to say, I can't talk to you right now, or I'll talk to you later, and she kind of had to organize that. And it makes me think of actually the psychic medium Lisa Williams, who does a similar thing. You know, you kind of have to dictate that your part in that relationship, meaning like you'll let the spirits know when you are ready and open and receptive to having a conversation with them. So you may need to signal when you're on and when you're not, yeah? So it could just be a matter of that if you're becoming more aware of spirit communication, yeah? So there is that with the thinning veil. That was for Cancer. Next up we have Leo. And here we have one of the other Hindu deity cards in my deck, and so this is Ganesha. So first and foremost, my meaning of this card is that the stage could be set for a limitation or a block or an obstacle to be removed, right? Because that is my first association with this. Now, it could also be just like with the Lakshmi card. My experience with Ganesha came through a dream. I had this dream where I was at a man's house, and he was in the entertainment industry to some degree because he was showing me his collection of Emmy Awards, yeah? And one of them was a statue that looked like Ganesha. And I marveled at that. And it was a gold statue of Ganesha, but it was like he had received this award for some outstanding work. And so it's a metaphor, right, for the work I was doing at the time when I was being recognized, right? Because that's the idea of an award. An award is some sort of recognition, right? But it was also, for me, maybe recognizing that maybe I had achieved the goal of having some limitation, some block, or some obstacle removed, yeah? So that is the reason why Lakshmi was in the deck and Ganesha was in the deck, right? Again, it could just be a matter of, if you are familiar with this deity, it could just be a matter of forming a closer bond or connection. Could be the same message for the Lakshmi card as well. You know, there's this idea here, there's a theme about, or a theme throughout some of these cards about forming a closer connection or bond with spirit and deity, or deities, if you are, known for, or, consider yourself working with more than one, yeah? So there is that with Ganesha. Now, if you are a magical practitioner, this card would suggest maybe doing some road opener work, right? Again, with the idea that I'm going to clear out a block, limitation, or some sort of restriction that I believe is on my path. I'm going to actively work on removing it. Now, again, if we're doing magic, that's the intention, and then the actual spell is the ritual or ceremony that's going to cement that idea about the block or the limitation being removed from your life, yeah? And then you just watch for the manifestation. Right? So that is what I want to offer about the Ganesha card. And that was for Leo. And now our last card wrapping up is for Virgo. And we have, oh, I love this card. Here we have the protection card. So if you will note that there is a sword here, and it has angel wings, right? So this is a nod to Archangel Michael, because I work with angels, right? So this is Archangel Michael, and Archangel Michael is the chief guardian angel, the chief protector angel, right? So this could be a nod for working again. I love how all these cards are talking about maybe working with Archangel Michael more closely, right? Especially if you're doing protection work, right? So this could be about protection magic, right? So if you're doing protection work, you might want to call in that energy of Archangel Michael. If you resonate with angelic frequencies, you know, you want to work with angels, you have an appreciation for angels, right? This could be about that. It could also be about forming a more close connection to your guardian angels. I am a big believer in that. Each one of us has a guardian angel as we work with other angels, right? We also have our own personal guardian angels. Now there's some discussion in spiritual circles about how many we each have. I believe we have at least one. Some people believe we have more. And then some people believe that based on what we consider our mission here in this life to do, we may have more in accordance to the mission that we believe we're here to do, right? But regardless, this is about maybe forming a closer connection with your guardian angel, right? Because your guardian angel actually is the closest angel to you, right? Because they come in, they're assigned to you. I believe that they are assigned to you when you come into this world, when you're born, right? So it could just be a matter of working more closely with your guardian angel, or like I said before, working with Archangel Michael. It could also be that, like I said before, that you are taking steps to work on protection magic. So this could be protection magic for yourself, protection magic for your home, that kind of thing. The last thing I want to say, because there's a sword here, it could also be about two things. I thought I was going to say one. First, what is it that you need to eliminate from your life? And because the sword is like cutting away things, it has the potential to cut away things. So what do you need to eliminate or remove? What do you need to cut away from your life? And again, with the idea, because I talked about it with cards before, you know, things that are no longer serving you and supporting you. What do you need to cut away? You know, what needs to be severed? That's the word that's coming to me, right? With that in mind, if you work with Archangel Michael, one of the processes along those lines, energetically speaking, is a process called cutting the cords, right? And that is about the energetic attachments that we make to people, to environments, yeah, to situations and circumstances. I'm a big believer that everything is energy, yeah? So we form energetic bonds and connections to things that serve us, but also to the things that don't serve us, or maybe served us at one time, and now we come to the realization that they no longer serve us, right? So it's about, you know, cutting those cords. And so the way it works for me anyway, I sit in a meditative position, or I sit in a chair, feet firmly planted on the floor. I take a few deep breaths in, and I call on Archangel Michael. So for me, when I say call on, I think about Archangel Michael and what Archangel Michael either looks like to me in my mind's eye, or what Archangel Michael feels like energetically, and I kind of tune into that. And then I ask Archangel Michael to assist me in cutting the cords to whatever the person, or whoever the person is, or whatever the situation is, that is making me feel a state of upset. You know, that's the best word I'm going to use right now, a state of upset. And how can I allow the removal of that so I can have peace of mind, right? And so then I kind of sit in that energetic space, and when I do it, I can feel an energetic shift more often than not. And then I thank Archangel Michael for assisting me in that, and then I go about my business. If I feel like the energy of upset is coming back, then I just do it again, right? Because it depends on how ingrained that experience is in your mind, yeah? Or how strong the energetic bond is, yeah? So you may need to do it more than once, and that's okay. Right? But that is what I want to say about protection. And that wraps up this month's Lightning Round Oracle card session. I want to thank you. If you hung out here with me this long, I want to thank you for spending time with me. I was very excited to use this deck. Right? Again, it's a personal deck, so I don't get to really share it with other people. So thank you for allowing me the privilege to share this deck with you. As you go forward, I really want to impart to you to really, for this season, pay attention to your intentions, right? It's about paying attention to your intentions, your actions, because both are going to affect what you want to manifest, yeah? And so, I'm Jameson Mitchell. I'm signing off. Thank you so much. I look forward to sharing this space here for you for our next Lightning Round Oracle card session next month. And until then, take care and blessed be.